Get a real job, Laura." My mother's voice still echoes in my head 3 weeks later, that condescending laugh trailing behind her words like cheap perfume. My name is Laura, and I'm 29 years old. 3 weeks ago, I thought I was going home for a simple family barbecue. Instead, I walked into what felt like a public execution. I should have known something was off when Mom positioned herself right next to the patio table where all my aunts and uncles were sitting. She had that look, you know the one? The same expression she wore when she cornered me about my grades in high school, except now I was an adult and she was about to humiliate me in front of the entire extended family. "Laura's still playing dress up online," she announced to everyone within earshot, gesturing at me with her wine glass. "Selling used clothes on the internet like it's some kind of career." Uncle Mike looked up from his burger. "Oh, like eBay?" "Exactly like eBay," Mom said, her voice dripping with fake concern. "I keep telling her she needs to get serious about her future. She's almost 30. My sister, Ella, perched on the edge of her chair in her perfectly pressed blazer, because who wears a blazer to a backyard barbecue, decided to pile on. "It's basically an Etsy level hustle," Ella said, not even looking up from her phone. "I mean, it's cute as a hobby, but Laura, you can't live off of thrift store finds forever." The worst part? Everyone nodded, like they were all in on some joke I wasn't getting. "What exactly do you do, sweetie?" Aunt Patricia asked, and I could hear the pity in her voice. I opened my mouth to explain, but Mom cut me off. "She buys clothes from thrift stores and resells them online for a few dollars more. It's not exactly rocket science." The table went quiet for about 2 seconds before Uncle Mike chuckled. "Well, at least she's entrepreneurial." "Entrepreneurial," Mom repeated like the word tasted sour. "That's one way to put it." I felt my face burning. Here I was surrounded by people who'd known me since I was 5 years old, and they were all looking at me like I was some kind of charity case. "Actually," I started, but Ella was already talking again. "The thing is, Laura never finished fashion school. She dropped out junior year and just never really figured out what she wanted to do with her life." "I didn't drop out," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "I left to start my business." "Right," Ella said, finally looking up from her phone with that smile that never reached her eyes. "Your business." The way she said it made my stomach twist, like I was delusional, like I was a child playing pretend. Mom leaned forward. "Honey, you're not a real adult until you have a real job. Playing dress up isn't going to pay for retirement." I wanted to scream. I wanted to pull out my phone and show them the notifications that had been pinging all afternoon. Order confirmations, payment receipts, messages from stylists asking about custom pieces. Instead, I just sat there, nodding along like the family disappointment they all thought I was. The conversation moved on to Ella's latest promotion at her law firm, and I spent the rest of the afternoon invisible, watching my sister bask in praise while I picked at my potato salad. I left early, claiming I had a headache. Nobody seemed surprised. The drive back to my apartment was a blur of anger and humiliation. I kept replaying every word, every dismissive laugh, every pitying look. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. My penthouse, yes, penthouse, felt like a sanctuary after that disaster. Floor to ceiling windows overlooking the city, minimalist furniture that cost more than most people's cars, and in the corner, the organized chaos that was my real life. Shipping boxes stacked to the ceiling, a professional photography setup, and 3 phones charging on my desk, all buzzing with notifications. I poured myself a glass of wine and watched the numbers roll in on my laptop screen. Another $15,000 day. Not bad for someone who plays dress up for a living. That's when I saw it. Ella had posted on Instagram while I was driving home a photo of her and my cousin Yasmin, both of them laughing at something off camera. The caption made my blood run cold. So excited for Yasmin's engagement party next month. Can't wait to celebrate with all the successful people in our family. Family first. Winners. I stared at that post for a full minute, reading it over and over again. All the successful people. I wasn't invited. I set my wine glass down and walked over to my desk, where all three phones were lighting up like a Christmas tree. One notification caught my eye, a DM from a stylist I'd worked with before. Hey girl, need 12 pieces for a Netflix shoot next week. The usual suspects want your eco-luxury line. Budget is $50K. Can you deliver? I screenshotted it and almost sent it to the family group chat out of spite. Almost. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up the real numbers, the ones that would make my mother's wine glass slip right out of her manicured fingers. Revenue this quarter, $1.2 million. Profit margin, 68%. Projected annual, $8 million. Playing dress up, I muttered, clicking through to my business dashboard. My phone rang. Justin, my business partner, probably calling about tomorrow's influencer shipments. Please tell me you're not spiraling over your family again, he said without even saying hello. How did you? Because you only work past midnight when you're pissed off, and I can see your online approving orders. I laughed despite myself. They didn't invite me to Yasmin's engagement party. The cousin who actually likes you? That's the one. Ouch. What's the plan? I pulled up Ella's Instagram again, studying that smug caption. I'm going anyway. Laura, no, listen. Remember that white dress we featured last month? The one that went viral on TikTok? The custom piece? Yeah, some lawyer girl made a whole video about how it was goals but probably fake designer. That lawyer girl was my sister. Silence on the other end. She doesn't know it's my brand, I continued. None of them do. They think I'm selling thrift store clothes on Facebook Marketplace. Holy shit. Exactly. I could hear Justin typing in the background. Okay, I'm looking at the video now. She has opinions. She said it was trying too hard to be high fashion and that real designers don't need to be so obvious. While wearing a blazer from Target. While wearing a blazer from Target, I confirmed. So what's the plan? Show up in the dress and blow their minds? I was already pulling up my inventory system, scrolling through the pieces I had in stock. Better than that, I'm going to give them a show they'll never forget. I love it when you get diabolical. My email pinged with a new message. I glanced at the sender and nearly dropped my phone. Justin, I have to go. I just got an email from Angelina. Angelina from college? The one who works for that huge fashion conglomerate now? Head of influencer marketing, I said, opening the message, and she wants to meet. About what? I scanned the email quickly. There's an influencer gala next month. She wants to discuss a potential partnership. That's huge, Laura. It gets better. Look who's sponsoring the event. I clicked through to the event page and found the list of corporate sponsors. Blair and Company. Should I know that name? That's my mother's company. She's been working there for 15 years. The pieces were falling into place in my head like a perfectly curated outfit. The engagement party, the gala, the dress, the reveal, it was all connected. Justin, I need you to pull together a presentation, something that shows our growth, our partnerships, our revenue. Make it look professional. How professional are we talking? Boardroom professional, like I could buy your company professional. I can have it ready by tomorrow. After we hung up, I walked over to my closet. And by closet, I mean the converted bedroom that housed my personal collection. Rows and rows of pieces I designed, curated, and created over the past 4 years. Each one telling a story my family had never bothered to listen to. I pulled out the white dress, The one Ella had mocked in her TikTok. It was even more beautiful than I remembered, hand-beaded silk with a subtle geometric pattern that caught the light just right. The kind of dress that whispered wealth instead of screaming it. My phone buzzed with a text from Yasmin. Hey, I know things are weird with your mom and Ella right now, but I really wish you could be at the party. It won't be the same without you. I stared at that message for a long time. Yasmin had always been different from the rest of them. She'd never made me feel small or stupid or like I was wasting my life. When I'd left fashion school, she was the only one who'd asked if I was okay instead of telling me I was making a mistake. I typed back, "Congratulations on the engagement. I'm so happy for you." What I didn't type? "Don't worry, I'll be there." I had 3 weeks to plan the perfect entrance, 3 weeks to turn years of humiliation into the most satisfying moment of my life. I opened my laptop and started typing an email to Angelina. "I'd love to discuss the partnership opportunity. When can we meet?" 2 days later, I was sitting in a trendy coffee shop across from Angelina, trying not to smirk as she scrolled through my portfolio on her tablet. "This is incredible work, Laura. I had no idea you were behind all of this." "Most people don't," I said, sipping my oat milk latte. "Your sustainable luxury angle is exactly what we're looking for. The influencer space is saturated with fast fashion partnerships, but this—" She gestured at the screen. "This is different." "Different how?" "Authentic, high-end but accessible, and your numbers are insane." She looked up at me. "How are you not already working with major brands?" "I prefer to stay under the radar." "Well, that's about to change. The gala is in 3 weeks, and I want you as our featured sustainable fashion partner. We're talking about a keynote presentation, a booth, meet and greets with industry executives." My phone buzzed with a notification, Instagram. I glanced down and saw Ella had posted another story. "Excuse me for 1 second," I said to Angelina, opening the app. Ella was showing off her walk-in closet, panning across racks of clothes while talking to the camera. "So I'm putting together my mood board for Yasmin's wedding looks, and I'm literally obsessed with this brand I found. Look at these pieces." She held up her phone showing screenshots of outfits, my outfits, from my brand. "The attention to detail is insane, and the sustainability aspect is so important to me. I'm actually thinking of reaching out to see if they'd do a custom collaboration." I nearly choked on my coffee. "Everything okay?" Angelina asked. "Perfect," I managed. "Actually, better than perfect." After our meeting, I called Justin immediately. "You're not going to believe what just happened. Try me. Ella wants to collaborate with us. She has no idea it's my brand and she wants to work with us. No way. I'm looking at her story right now. She's showing off pieces from our spring collection like they're her personal discoveries." This is too good. What are you thinking? I was already walking toward my car, my mind racing. "I'm thinking we give her exactly what she wants, a custom collaboration. And then? And then we name the collection after her." "Laura, that's brilliant." "I know." I got home and immediately pulled up Ella's Pinterest boards. She had dozens of them. Wedding guest looks, professional wardrobe goals, date night outfits. I scrolled through hundreds of pins and my jaw dropped. More than half of the images were pieces from my brand. She'd been unknowingly obsessing over my designs for months. I screenshotted everything and sent it to Justin. "Holy shit," he texted back immediately. "She's basically been advertising for you for free. It gets better. Look at this." I found her Dream Collaboration Brands board. Right at the top was a pin of one of my signature pieces with the caption, "If I could work with any sustainable fashion brand, it would be this one. The aesthetic is everything." My phone rang. "This is insane," Justin said. "She's literally your biggest fan and she doesn't even know it. I want to create a limited collection. Call it the ER collection." "ER? Emergency revenge, but we'll market it as elevated refined. You're diabolical. I'm just getting started. Can you set up a business email account? Something professional sounding. I want to reach out to her directly. On it. What's the plan? I pulled up Ella's contact form on her law firm's website. I'm going to offer her exactly what she wants, a custom wardrobe collaboration, full styling package, professional photos, social media campaign, everything. And she'll say yes because she doesn't know it's you. She'll say yes because she's been dreaming about this for months. I spent the next hour crafting the perfect email, professional but friendly, exclusive but not desperate. I attached a mood board featuring pieces I knew she'd already pinned, plus a few new designs I've been working on. Dear Ella, I typed, we've been following your content and love your aesthetic. We'd like to offer you an exclusive collaboration opportunity with our upcoming ER collection. This would include a custom wardrobe package, professional styling consultation, and social media partnership. We believe your sophisticated style aligns perfectly with our brand values. I hit send before I could second guess myself. My phone buzzed with a text from Yasmin. I feel terrible that you're not invited to the party. I tried talking to your mom, but she said it was Ella's decision since she's planning it. Don't worry about it, I texted back. I understand. What I didn't text, I'll be there anyway, and it's going to be spectacular. 20 minutes later, my business email chimed with a response from Ella. OMG, yes, I've been obsessed with your brand for months. This is literally a dream come true. When can we set up a call? I stared at that email for a full minute, then forwarded it to Justin. She took the bait, I texted him. Hook, line, and sinker, he replied. This is going to be epic. I opened my calendar and started planning. 3 weeks to pull off the most satisfying revenge in fashion history. Game on. The night of Yasmin's engagement party, I sat in my G-Wagon outside the venue for 10 minutes, watching guests stream through the entrance. Designer dresses, expensive suits, the kind of crowd that would normally make me feel invisible. Not tonight. I checked my makeup one last time in the rearview mirror. The white dress fit like it was painted on, because technically it was custom made for my exact measurements. The same dress Ella had called trying too hard in her TikTok review 6 months ago. My phone buzzed with a text from Justin. Photographer is in position. You ready for this? Born ready, I typed back. I stepped out of the car and handed my keys to the valet, who did a double take at the vehicle. The photographer Justin had hired was positioned perfectly across the street, capturing every moment as I walked toward the entrance. The venue was stunning, a rooftop garden with string lights and city views. I could see why Yasmin had chosen it. Through the glass doors, I spotted familiar faces, aunts, uncles, family friends. And there, holding court near the bar, was Ella in a black cocktail dress that probably cost more than most people's rent. I took a deep breath and walked inside. The first person to notice me was my cousin Marcus, who nearly dropped his drink. Laura? Holy shit, you look different. I smiled, accepting the champagne flute a server offered me. Expensive, he said, still staring, like really expensive. Other guests were starting to turn and look. I could hear whispers starting to ripple through the crowd. Is that Nicole's daughter? The one who sells clothes online? She looks incredible. I made my way through the party, nodding politely at relatives who suddenly seemed very interested in talking to me. But I had my sights set on one person. Ella was standing by the bar, scrolling through her phone, while her husband talked to some guy about golf. She looked up as I approached, and I watched her expression shift from confusion to recognition to something I couldn't quite read. Laura, she said, her voice carefully neutral. I didn't know you were coming. Surprise, I said, raising my champagne glass. Love your dress, by the way. Very classic. Thanks. She looked me up and down, and I could practically see the wheels turning in her head. Your dress is, wow. Where's it from? Oh, this old thing. I smoothed down the silk. It's vintage, from my favorite sustainable fashion brand, actually. Ella's eyes narrowed slightly. Which brand? Before I could answer, Yasmin appeared beside us, looking stunning in a rose gold dress that complemented her engagement ring perfectly. Laura! She threw her arms around me, and for a moment I felt genuinely happy to be there. You came? I'm so glad. I wouldn't miss celebrating you, I said, squeezing her back. Congratulations, Yas. You look absolutely radiant. Thank you. And you look. She stepped back, taking in my appearance. I mean, wow. You look like you stepped off a red carpet. She does clean up nice, Ella said, but there was an edge to her voice. Alfred, Yasmin's fiance, joined our little group. Ladies, you all look fantastic. Yasmin, your family has excellent taste. This is my cousin Laura, Yasmin said. Laura, this is Alfred. Pleasure to meet you, Alfred said, shaking my hand. Yasmin's told me so much about you. You're in fashion, right? Something like that, I said. Ella snorted. She sells thrift store clothes online? The dismissive tone in her voice was exactly what I'd been waiting for. I smiled sweetly at her. Actually, I've been meaning to thank you, Ella. Thank me for what? Your TikTok review of this dress. You said it was trying too hard to be high fashion and that real designers don't need to be so obvious. Ella's face went pale. What? You reviewed this exact dress 6 months ago. Don't you remember? You said the brand was probably fake designer. I pulled out my phone and found the saved video, turning the screen toward her. There she was, holding up a photo of the dress I was currently wearing, critiquing every detail. That's not, Ella stammered. Oh, but it is, I said, my smile never wavering. Same dress, same brand, the one you've been obsessing over on Pinterest for months. Yasmin looked confused. I don't understand. Your sister has been unknowingly promoting my brand on social media, I explained. In fact, she just signed a collaboration deal with us last week. Ella's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. That's impossible, she whispered. Is it? I pulled up my business email on my phone and showed her our correspondence. You said working with us was literally a dream come true. The color drained completely from Ella's face as she read her own enthusiastic responses. You're, she started, the owner of the brand you've been fangirling over? Yes? Alfred looked between us, clearly lost. I'm sorry, what's happening here? Laura owns a fashion company, Yasmin said slowly, pieces clicking into place. Not just any fashion company, I said. A multi-million-dollar sustainable luxury brand that your sister here has been accidentally advertising for free. The conversation around us had gone completely silent. I could feel eyes turning toward our little group, sensing drama in the air. Ella was still staring at my phone screen, reading her own emails. This can't be real. Oh, it's very real, I said, tucking my phone back into my clutch. In fact, I have a little engagement gift for the happy couple. I raised my voice slightly, making sure nearby guests could hear. Yasmin, Alfred, as my gift to you both, I'd like to offer a $200,000 custom wardrobe sponsorship for your honeymoon. My brand would love to style you for whatever destination you choose. The silence that followed was deafening. Someone's fork clinked against their plate. A server stopped mid-step, clearly eavesdropping. 200,000? Alfred repeated, his voice cracking slightly. Dollars, I confirmed with a smile. It's the least I can do for family. Yasmin's mouth was hanging open. Laura, I don't understand. How do you have that kind of money? Before I could answer, my mother appeared beside us like a storm cloud in designer shoes. What's going on here? Nicole demanded, her eyes scanning the group. Why is everyone staring? Mom, Ella said weakly, Laura just offered Yasmin $200,000. For what? A wardrobe sponsorship, I said pleasantly, for my fashion company. Nicole's laugh was sharp and dismissive. Laura, this isn't the time for your little fantasies. Fantasies? I pulled out my phone again, opening my banking app. Would you like to see my quarterly revenue report? Stop it, Nicole hissed. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I turned the phone screen toward her. Because this shows I cleared $1.2 million in the last 3 months alone. The number was right there in black and white. Nicole's eyes went wide, then narrowed with suspicion. That's fake, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Is it? I swiped to another screen. Here's my business account. Here's my investment portfolio. Here's the contract I just signed for a keynote presentation at next month's Fashion Forward Gala. More guests were gathering around us now, drawn by the commotion. I recognized several faces from the barbecue, the same relatives who'd pitied me 3 weeks ago. Uncle Mike pushed through the crowd. What's all the excitement about? Laura's claiming she's a millionaire, Nicole said, her voice tight with embarrassment. Not claiming, I corrected, stating there's a difference. This is ridiculous. Ella finally found her voice. You can't just show up here and what? Tell the truth? I looked around at the gathered crowd. 3 weeks ago at Uncle Mike's barbecue, you all sat there while my mother told me to get a real job. You laughed when Ella called my business an Etsy-level hustle. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I could see some people pulling out their phones, probably Googling my brand name. You said I wasn't a real adult, I continued, looking directly at my mother. You said playing dress-up wasn't a career. You said I'd be 30 and broke. Laura, please, Yasmin said quietly. This is my engagement party. You're right, I said, softening my tone for her. I'm sorry, Yas. This isn't about you. I turned back to my mother and sister. But since we're all here, let me clear something up. I'm 29 years old, and I built a multi-million-dollar company from nothing. No help from family, no co-signers, no safety net. That's impossible, Nicole said. I would have known. Would you? When was the last time you asked me about my work? Really asked, not just dismissed it? The crowd was getting larger. I could see people whispering, pointing, taking photos. This was exactly what I'd wanted, a public reckoning. The dress I'm wearing right now, it's from my brand. The same dress Ella made a TikTok about, calling it fake designer. The same brand she's been obsessing over on Pinterest for months. The same brand she just agreed to collaborate with because, and I quote, it was literally a dream come true. Ella looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. So here's what's going to happen, I continued. I'm going to honor that collaboration agreement. The ER collection launches next month, featuring pieces inspired by Ella's own wish list. ER stands for Elevated Refined, but between us it also stands for Emergency Revenge. You can't do this, Nicole said, her voice shaking with rage. Actually, I can and I am. I smiled at the crowd. Oh, and Mom, you might want to check with your company's board about the Fashion Forward Gala. Blair & Company is a major sponsor, and I'm the keynote speaker. Nicole's face went white. That's not possible. Want to bet? I pulled up Angelina's email and showed her the speaker confirmation. Looks like your daughter's finally going to be successful enough for your company's standards. The crowd erupted in whispers and gasps. Someone started clapping slowly, then others joined in. I finished my champagne and set the glass on a nearby table. Congratulations again, Yasmin. You deserve all the happiness in the world. I kissed her cheek and walked toward the exit, leaving my family standing there in stunned silence while the party buzzed with excitement around them. My phone was already lighting up with notifications as I reached the door. The show was just getting started. I made it exactly 3 blocks before my phone started ringing nonstop. The first call was from Justin. Holy shit, Laura, it's everywhere. What's everywhere? Someone live streamed the whole thing on Instagram. The video already has 50,000 views, and it's been 20 minutes. I pulled over and opened Instagram. Sure enough, there it was. A shaky phone video titled, Family Drama at Engagement Party Goes Viral. The comments were already pouring in. This is the most satisfying thing I've ever seen. The sister's face when she realized that dress is stunning. What's the brand name? Plot twist of the century. My phone buzzed with a text from Ella. We need to talk now. Then another from my mother. Come home immediately. This is unacceptable. I was about to put my phone on silent when Yasmin's name popped up. Laura, please call me. I'm so confused and hurt right now. That one hit different. I pulled into a parking lot and called her back. Yas, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to ruin your night. You didn't ruin it, she said, but I could hear tears in her voice. Why didn't you tell me? About the business, about the money, about everything. Because every time I tried to talk about my work, someone in the family shut me down. It was easier to just disappear. But I never shut you down. I always asked about your business. She was right. Yasmin had always been different. I know. I should have told you. I was just so tired of being the family joke that I stopped trusting anyone, even me, especially you, because you were the only one whose opinion actually mattered to me. There was silence on the other end for a moment. The $200,000 offer, she said finally. Was that real? Completely real, if you want it. Laura, that's insane. I can't accept that. Why not? It's a business expense for me and your family. Because it feels like you're trying to buy forgiveness? That stung because it was partially true. Maybe I am, I admitted, but also because I love you and I want your honeymoon to be perfect. I need time to think about all this. After we hung up, I drove home in silence. My penthouse felt different somehow, less like a sanctuary and more like a fortress I'd built to keep everyone out. I poured myself a glass of wine and opened my laptop. The engagement party video had been reposted across multiple platforms: TikTok, Twitter, even Reddit. Someone had created a thread called Woman Reveals Multi-Million-Dollar Business at Family Party After Years of Being Mocked. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive, but a few stood out. This feels fake. Who just casually offers $200K? Rich people problems. Must be nice. The family sounds toxic, but this seems like overkill. My phone rang. Ella's name flashed on the screen. What do you want? I answered. I want to understand what the hell just happened. You want to understand? You spent years making me feel like garbage, and now that you know I'm successful, suddenly you want to understand? That's not fair, isn't it? You literally said my business was an Etsy-level hustle in front of the entire family. I didn't know. You didn't know because you never bothered to ask. None of you did. So this is revenge? Humiliating us in public? This is consequences, Ella, for years of treating me like I was worthless. We never said you were worthless. You didn't have to say it. You showed it every single day. There was a long pause. The collaboration, she said finally. Are you really going through with it? Why wouldn't I? You signed the contract. Because it's based on a lie. What lie? You love the brand. You've been promoting it for free for months. The only thing that's changed is that you know who owns it. It's different now. How? Because it's you. And that's the problem, isn't it? It was fine when you thought it was some mysterious designer you could never meet. But now that you know it's your little sister who plays dress up for a living, suddenly it's not good enough. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. I hung up and immediately got another call. This time it was my mother. Laura Marie, you get home right now? I am home, Mom, in my penthouse that I bought with my fake business. Don't be smart with me. You embarrassed this entire family tonight. I told the truth. If that's embarrassing, maybe you should examine why. You're being dramatic and childish. I'm being honest. For the first time in years, if you don't fix this situation, there will be consequences. Like what? You'll disown me? Stop talking to me? Exclude me from family events? I laughed. Mom, you've already been doing all of that. I mean it, Laura. If you use our family name in any of your business ventures, I will sue you. Our family name? You mean the name I've been building a reputation with while you told everyone I was a failure? I'm warning you. I hung up and turned off my phone. The wine tasted bitter now. Outside my floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sparkled like diamonds. But all I could think about was Yasmin's voice when she asked why I hadn't trusted her. Maybe revenge wasn't as sweet as I'd imagined. 2 weeks later, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, applying the final touches of makeup for the fashion-forward gala. The black silk gown I'd chosen was understated elegance. No need to scream wealth when you were about to do it with words. Justin knocked on my bedroom door. Car's here. You ready for this? As ready as someone can be for corporate warfare and couture. The presentation looks incredible, by the way. Angelina's team loved the final version. I grabbed my clutch and headed for the door. Did you confirm my mother's company placement? Blair and Company has a VIP table right in front of the stage. She'll have a perfect view of your keynote. The gala was being held at the city's most exclusive hotel. Red carpet paparazzi, the works. As our car pulled up, I could see photographers lined up behind velvet ropes. Remember, Justin said as we stepped out, you're not Laura the family disappointment tonight. You're Laura the CEO. The first person I spotted inside was Angelina, looking stunning in an emerald green gown. Laura, you look absolutely incredible. She air-kissed both my cheeks. Are you nervous? Should I be? Only if you're not ready to have every major fashion house in the country trying to poach you after tonight. We made our way through the cocktail reception. I recognized faces from fashion magazines, influencers with millions of followers, executives from brands I'd grown up admiring. And there, at a table near the front, sat my mother. Nicole was wearing a navy blue dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. Her hair perfectly styled, her smile frozen in place as she made small talk with her colleagues. She hadn't seen me yet. Laura! A voice called out behind me. I turned to see Marcus, my cousin from the engagement party, approaching with a huge grin. Marcus, what are you doing here? I work in PR for one of the sponsor companies. Had to see this keynote everyone's been talking about. He looked around the room. This is insane. I mean, I knew you said you had a business, but this is not what you expected? Not even close. Mom's been telling everyone about the engagement party. Half the family thinks you're some kind of genius. The other half thinks you're having a breakdown. Which half do you fall into? The genius half, definitely. That thing you did to Ella was legendary. A server approached with champagne. I took a glass, needing something to steady my nerves. Ladies and gentlemen, the host's voice echoed through the ballroom. Please take your seats. We'll be beginning our keynote presentation in 5 minutes. My stomach fluttered. This was it. I made my way backstage where Angelina was waiting with a microphone pack. You've got this. she said, clipping the mic to my dress. Just remember, you're not selling yourself to them. They need you more than you need them. The lights dimmed in the ballroom. I could hear the host introducing me, listing my company's achievements, revenue figures, sustainability awards. When he said my name, there was genuine applause. I walked onto the stage, the spotlight hitting me immediately. The audience was a sea of faces, but my eyes went straight to my mother's table. Nicole was sitting perfectly still, her champagne glass halfway to her lips, staring at me like she was seeing a ghost. "Good evening," I began, my voice carrying clearly through the room. 3 years ago, I was told that playing dress up wasn't a real job, that I needed to get serious about my future, that I was wasting my life selling clothes online. A few chuckles from the audience. My mother's face had gone pale. Tonight, I'm here to talk about the future of sustainable fashion and how a company that started with thrift store finds is now partnering with Netflix Productions, styling A-list celebrities and generating 8-figure annual revenue. The presentation screen behind me lit up with my company's logo, followed by a slideshow of celebrity clients, revenue charts, and sustainability impact data. We've diverted over 2 million pounds of textile waste from landfills. We've created jobs for over 300 artisans worldwide. And we've proven that sustainable fashion doesn't have to sacrifice style or profitability. I clicked to the next slide, a photo of the white dress I'd worn to the engagement party. This dress generated over 50 million social media impressions in a single week, not because of paid advertising, but because someone filmed me wearing it to a family event. Laughter rippled through the audience. I could see people pulling out their phones, probably looking up the viral video. That's the power of authentic storytelling. When you create something people genuinely love, they become your advocates without even realizing it. I spent the next 20 minutes walking through case studies, partnership opportunities, and future projections. When I finished, the applause was thunderous. As I walked off stage, I passed directly by my mother's table. She was sitting frozen, her colleagues leaning in to whisper questions about how she knew me. I stopped right beside her chair and leaned down. "Funny how karma always ends up in couture, huh, Mom?" Her champagne glass trembled in her hand, but she didn't say a word. I straightened up and walked away, leaving her to explain to her board of directors how the keynote speaker was her daughter, the one she'd been calling a failure for years. The morning after the gala, I was sitting by my pool in a silk robe, sipping coffee and scrolling through the flood of partnership offers in my inbox when Yasmin texted me. "Can you come over? There's something you need to know about Ella." I threw on jeans and a t-shirt and drove to Yasmin's apartment. She answered the door looking exhausted, still in pajamas at noon. "You look like hell," I said, following her to the kitchen. "I've been up all night thinking about everything." She poured herself coffee with shaking hands. "Laura, I need to show you something." She pulled out her laptop and opened Instagram. "After your keynote went viral, Ella posted this." The post was a carousel of photos, Ella in various outfits, all from my brand with a long caption. "I've always been inspired by sustainable fashion and supporting small businesses. So excited to announce my collaboration with this amazing eco-luxury brand. I've been a fan for months and can't wait to share this journey with you all. Sustainable fashion, small business, collaboration." "She's trying to spin it," Yasmin said, like she was always supportive. Of course she is. I scrolled through the comments. Hundreds of people calling her out, posting screenshots from the engagement party video. But that's not the worst part. Yasmin clicked to her messages. Look at what she sent me privately. The DM was long and desperate. "Yash, you have to help me. This whole thing is ruining my reputation. People are calling me fake and jealous. Can you talk to Laura about toning down the revenge angle? Maybe we can all just move past this. I'll split the collaboration fee with her if she helps me save face." I stared at the message. She wants to split the fee for wearing clothes from my own company? It gets worse. Yasmin showed me another message. She's been DMing other family members, trying to get them to pressure you into being the bigger person. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. "We need to talk. Meet me at the house in an hour." "Don't go," Yasmin said immediately. "Why not?" "Because I think they're planning something. Ella's been calling everyone, and your mom left 3 voicemails on my phone asking about your mental state." I laughed, but it wasn't funny. My mental state? She's trying to build a case that you're having some kind of breakdown, that the success went to your head. Unbelievable. My phone rang. Justin. "Laura, we have a problem. Someone's been calling our business partners, claiming to be your family and saying you're going through a difficult time and that any recent decision should be reconsidered." "Let me guess. My mother?" "And your sister. They called Angelina's company this morning trying to get your keynote contract canceled." "What did Angelina say?" "She told them to go to hell, but more professionally. She also said 3 major brands want to meet with you this week." I hung up and looked at Yasmin. "I'm going to end this." "How?" "By giving them exactly what they want." I spent the rest of the afternoon working with Justin on a new project. By evening, we had everything ready. I posted a single Instagram story. "Big announcement coming tomorrow. The ER collection is getting a rebrand." The next morning, I went live on Instagram from my office, wearing a simple black blazer and the biggest smile I could manage. "Good morning, everyone. I wanted to address some recent family drama that's been making headlines." The viewer count was climbing rapidly. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people watching. Some people have suggested that my recent success has gone to my head, that I'm having some kind of breakdown. So I've decided to rebrand the ER collection. I held up a new design mock-up. ER no longer stands for Emergency Revenge. It now stands for Everyone Rises. This collection will be dedicated to supporting women entrepreneurs who've been told their dreams aren't realistic. The comments were going crazy. For every piece sold, we'll be donating 50% of profits to a new foundation supporting women-owned businesses. Because the best revenge isn't bringing people down, it's lifting others up while you climb. I ended the live stream and immediately got a call from Yasmin. "That was brilliant," she said. "You just turned the whole narrative around." "I'm tired of being angry, Yas. It was eating me alive." "What about your mom and Ella?" "What about them? They can keep trying to tear me down, but I'm done playing their game." My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Ella. Can we please talk?" I deleted it without responding. That evening, I was back by my pool watching the sunset paint the city gold. My phone showed 17 missed calls from family members, but I turned off the ringer. The Everyone Rises collection had pre-sold $2.3 million worth of inventory in 6 hours. I raised my wine glass to the skyline and smiled. "I used to want them to say sorry," I said to no one in particular. "Now I just want them to keep watching." My phone lit up with a notification, another order, another woman supporting women. I took a sip of wine and got back to work.